Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining our Atlas second webinar. We are here with our experts in our project and we will be answering your questions exactly as we did last time. I'm glad to introduce to you Stefan Rieling, our coordinator who works for Fraunhofer Institute for Intelligent Analysis and Information Systems. Peter Fröhlich, who owns his own software company AgriCircle and also a farmer himself, and Ioana Antonopoulou, who is our communication coordinator and yeah, help you with technical questions if you have them. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. And yeah, so we, as we have only 40 minutes or 45 at the most, so we will start with very brief introduction of the project for those of you who just joined and don't know much about our Atlas project, and then we will go straight forward to your questions. So so Stefan, it's the floor is yours. I will, yep, please.
Thank you very much, Tamara. So I just need the screen to share the slides and then we can...
It should work now.
Now it's here, same. So do you see the screen?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. Thank you very much for your interest in Atlas and the Atlas open calls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly explain what Atlas is about, what we are doing. And then I will also answer some frequently asked questions we received from the last webinar or via email about the Atlas open calls, and then I will show you, give you a quick overview about the test sites we have in Atlas, and yeah, then we are open to your questions. So what is Atlas? Atlas is a Horizon 2020 research project running over 36 months. It's quite a large project. Roughly 13 million euros are given from the EU to the consortium to do this work in 3 years, and we have started last October. The consortium is made up of 30 partners from 8 different European countries. We have universities and research institutions. We have a strong industrial involvement. We have basically all the machinery manufacturers on board the consortium. We have lots of SMEs in the consortium dealing with, most of them are dealing with digital agriculture, with robots, with weather forecast services. So quite innovative companies. And we have agricultural cooperatives and commercial farms. So we have real farmers also in the consortium. So what is Atlas going to do? Atlas is basically building a interoperability network which will enable the interconnection and data exchange of machines, of cloud-based analysis services, of sensor networks, and of agricultural software. And it will be done by means of trusted and autonomous participants. And it is clearly, it's an interchange network, it's an interchange infrastructure. So it is not a data silo, not a platform, no central data hubs. And the basic principle is that we want to have a minimum of centralized components in these networks and a dedicated entities to interchange data, which we call services. What we have done so far, or one of our main tasks so far in Atlas, was to define a high-level reference architecture designed along concrete use cases, which basically exposes two basic concepts of exchanging data. It's the data platform-based data exchange and processing, and it's onboard, on-site, / edge computing processing capabilities and the whole runtime environment around this. Having this said, we received a lot of questions, concrete questions, what applicants should do to participate in Atlas in the open calls. And I will quickly go over the really most frequent ones we received, and trying to answer these questions in advance now. So one questions we frequently receive is, what is Atlas and what will Atlas deliver? So as I said, we are developing an interoperability network to exchange data based on a service-oriented architecture. So it's not a data space, not a data hub, not a real platform, or what you might understand of a platform. However, these entities like data spaces or data hubs, they can easily be connected to the Atlas network. So this is the main thing what Atlas is and what it will deliver. It will deliver a mean infrastructure to exchange data. Then another frequent question we receive, if you participate in the open call, who will be the owner of the developed application? And the answer here is easy. Applicants will remain the sole owners of their projects and retain the IPR to their respective solutions. And applicants are also free to commercialize their applications on their own. So this is actually what we are looking for. We look for solutions which can be then put on the market and be used to build up an ecosystem of applications. Then also one frequent question is, what should projects deliver if they participate in the open call? We are looking for digital services connected to the Atlas network. So that's one thing you should do. Your solution should be able to be connected to the Atlas network. You will have to implement specific services to do this, and you should add your application should add value to the farmer's workflow. So it should be something useful for end users, mainly for farmers. What we also are looking for, or what we also expect, that you are able to present your solution in some sort of events we are going to organize in Atlas. So that's what you have to deliver. Then what will be provided by Atlas? What will you get from our side? As I said, we are currently working on an extensive specification of that whole service infrastructure. We are defining various service templates which will help you to integrate the work into the Atlas network, and we will provide you a detailed API specification. Then the last FAQ or question I have, which was really frequently asked, is like, I have an idea, a solution, an algorithm. Is it valid for a contribution to Atlas? And the answer is, if it adds value to the farming workflow and if it can be integrated into the Atlas network, you are welcome to submit your proposal. Then I would say it's valid. And what we are looking for things which really can be used by end users, which add value to the end users' workflows. And what you find on our open call webpage is a list of possible topics you could submit proposals for, but you are not restricted to these topics. If you have your own ideas, feel free to submit them. For this, we have an open technology topic where all these things could be put into. So these are the most common questions we received so far. I'm sure you have more questions which we are happy to receive after this presentation. So after these questions about Atlas, I will briefly show you what we have in Atlas as farms and test sites available. Atlas is a large-scale pilot project, which is a research project or an innovation project, which should really demonstrate the outcome of the technology in lots of test sites, lots of experiments. And what we have in Atlas, we have 13 agricultural operations available, distributed over whole Europe. It's a combination of research farms and commercial farms, and lots of things are planted there. We have arable crops, we have fruits, but we have also livestock farming. We have poultry, we have cattle, we have pigs. So we have lots of experimentation sites available where technology could be demonstrated and tested. So here you see the coverage of all our test sites, and we have also defined a multitude of use cases we want to build our demonstrators around. You see here 4 basic topics we are addressing in these use cases. We have, of course, a much more detailed specification of each use case, but that would not fit into the given time frame today. So we are basically working on the classic precision farming task, targeted application of fertilizer or plant protection. We are also dealing with irrigation management. We are looking at soil state and soil readiness analysis, and we are working on the behavioral analysis of livestock. So to summarize it, Atlas is about interoperability. We want to achieve a new level of interoperability between agricultural machine sensors and data services. We will simplify all the farming processes or all the processes involved in farming, and we are aiming for new business models for and with the farmer. And that's already the presentation. So thanks for listening, and we are looking forward for your questions.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Yeah, yes, I don't see questions yet, but we would welcome your questions during the webinar. Yeah, I would like to just to remind you about some operational stuff. So you have handouts. We uploaded for you some handouts available to download for you. You can see them. I will show them to you now. You can see them on your GoToMeeting dashboard. You see my screen now, right? Okay.
Not yet, I would say. I've stopped screen sharing now.
Yeah, sorry for that. So just a second, I will share my screen. I have 2 monitors, and that's sometimes confusing. Right. So what I would like to show to you, now you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Good. Very good. So on the GoToMeeting dashboard, you see handouts. So I'm saying that for participants, we have 3 handouts for you. The slides that you just saw by Stefan, there will be my slides with answers to most common budget and legal questions, and 1 flyer with general information about the open call, which might be useful for you too. So we are looking forward to your questions. Just a second, I see one. Question 9 in the open call application asks for the demonstration of emerging standards. Can you give some examples of those emerging standards?
Well, emerging means new. One example of a new standard we look for is to integrate TIM, tractor implement management, in the whole sequence. Also, we will support isobus. Overall, I think Atlas is the new standard for communication to machines and from machines through OEM clouds in the first place, maybe even directly to the tractors in the second place. And I guess that's also leading to a slight revolution. It's not really about the new standard, it's rather about the new architecture and a new way to work through things. And what we look for and what we have decided is to build so-called service templates. So if you think, for example, of irrigation management, you will have a whole flow and then another set of technical interfaces, such as, for example, how to integrate satellite information or weather information or IoT sensor information. For this, we have partners such as Libelium, different ones that offer satellite data, weather partners like Meteomatics and others. So that's what will emerge. And also you have the ability, if you have, let's say you work on a new service template called, I don't know, smart planting for salad, for example, you might be able to create such a template by yourself and actually start establishing it as a new standard together with the Atlas partners. So you can even help driving standard setting linked to different work packages. What we have in that named work package is the lead is with IF, so it's the machine reproducer. And the focus there is really on the data that goes on a tractor and comes from a tractor. What goes beyond that is more or less open to be shaped.
Thank you, Peter. Another question. Question 16 in the open call asks about the utilization of the Atlas network and datasets. Can you describe those? I guess that's what Stefan just did, right?
I didn't acoustically understand. What? Could you repeat it, please?
We ask in our application template about the utilization of the Atlas network and datasets.
Yeah.
So how the solution is going to utilize the Atlas network and datasets, basically what they need to build their solution. So, and the question is, can you describe those network and the data?
Yes, I got it. So that when it comes to data sets, the data sets are produced by our different farming test sites. We have already installed sensors there and will continue to put sensor networks there. And we will provide data services to access this sensor data. So you will get this data through the Atlas network by connecting to these dedicated services we provide. Then what you have to do as a participant, as an applicant, you have to also implement a Atlas data service to connect your solution to the Atlas network. And the Atlas network will provide means for service discovery. So we have an entity called Service Registry, where you will be able to find data producing services which will deliver the data you will need for your service to work. So that's how it's intended to work.
Thank you very much. We have another short question, which is a little bit strange. If you ask me, can the solution we are developing work also as standalone? No need to interact with Atlas.
Well, the question, what is standalone? Is it standalone that you don't want to go onto a tractor? Yeah, then it's standalone. So you build your own tractor and go onto it. You build your own. I mean, if everything you do is your own thing, why not? You still could implement the Atlas APIs. I'm just not sure that's ever gonna happen, that you have no interactions. I would be very surprised if you would be your own weather service provider, your own satellite data provider, your own tractor producer that does everything, your own algorithm production company, you have your own data. I mean, I think the situations where you have everything in one hand, this is very, very rare. But yeah, it can be. And if you even would say, I use the APIs that are given through the Atlas service templates and so on, yes, you could have a standard, like a standalone service being Atlas ready. So that farmers could say, oh no, I don't want to use your satellite pipe. I actually want another one. Then that would mean it's Atlas ready. But it goes a bit in contrary with the standalone. I mean, and I don't believe there's ever going to be a standalone service if it's not a big machinery producer doing it.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
I cannot imagine any software which is really standalone in that agricultural context, meaning that you do not have any possibility to put in data or to put out data to another service. And that would be, I mean, if you're just implementing some kind of software you can run on a PC which does something and it's not delivering the results to the Atlas network, I would say it's out of scope.
Thank you, Stefan. Konstantinos asked that question. Konstantinos, if you would like to elaborate, send your examples, we will consider it. Right. The next question is, if our use case fits to one of your topics, but the farmer is not the end user, does it mean we don't qualify for the call?
The question is what it is about. I mean, actually in Atlas, everything finally, the farmer is the end user because he needs to perform some task in the field usually. If you say you're not, I will need to have it a bit elaborated what it means. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, for example,
what kind of?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
If it's a solution, for example, where the end user is the food processing industry and it just needs data from the farmer, I would say it's a valid solution. Or if it's something for the machinery and industry, which is also an end user of the Atlas products, if it's something which does put some new interaction methodologies to machines, I would say it's also a valid solution. But I agree with you, Peter. You never have, or usually you don't have the case where the farmer is completely out on one.
Well, let's.
You have the farmer.
I just thought a bit further. Sorry, Stefan, to just interrupt, because it could be a breeder where you have some services for them. Let's not call the end customer farmer, but I see some task in the field to be performed. And okay, if you call then that guy, it's an employee of a breeding company or it's a farmer, we don't care, I guess. It's just, yeah, someone needs to perform a job with animals or on a field that is kind of supported by the system. Is that guy called a farmer, or is it an employee of a breeder or of a crop protection company or of I don't know, a slaughterhouse or whatever? I mean, I guess we don't care. It's it doesn't need to be called a farmer, but it needs to be a interaction or activity that the farmer would perform somehow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yes, as we say that that the solution should be available for any players in the agricultural supply chain. So just Dario, if you would like to elaborate, just also send your question with specifics afterwards, after the webinar. So then the next question is Right now, we work part-time on a project which we believe could be eligible for the call. Do we have to be an established company in order to participate? Yes, that's a very common question. Yes, you do have to be a legally established company in one of the qualified countries. And you can find, I'm feeling that I won't get to my presentation today, but that's okay, because I would like to use our experts to answer your technical questions. You can find all answers to your most common budget and legal questions in one of the handouts. Please download the handouts during the session, and you will find very full, I would say, answers to your questions. If we have some spare minutes at the end, I will get back to those questions. But other than that, please just use the handouts. Right. The next question, irrigation topic. Is it possible just to develop a software solution, or must it be a software and hardware solution?
It could also be a software solution. Why not? If you are developing something which will then deliver irrigation plans based on what data ever, it's perfectly valid.
I think that's even where we want to go with Atlas. I mean, one big part of the Atlas interoperability network shall be that small companies are enabled to work with hardware and metadata sets that are there, like fields and farmers and all that stuff, so that you can quicker do what you want to do. And that can well be just a software solution. For the purpose of the project, it's probably a bit tricky at that stage. You might need to involve some hardware to be able to actually show something. I think it's a bit too early for just software. I might be wrong there. We would need to assess, but I guess at the moment it's rather that you need to also have some physical interaction that you can showcase something. Otherwise, you kind of produce a first thing that nobody can actually use, and that should not be the purpose of the call. Also, then you have to ask yourself about your business model. So, yeah.
On the other hand, we say that we can provide some resources that are needed, right? So, and if
well, exactly. I mean, especially in the irrigation part, we have some hardware that you could actually mount your system on. Currently, I'm open there also. Currently, it's a company called Rain Dancer that is thinking of producing something like this that has hardware on one of our farms already. Yeah, question would be how open they would be to install other things, but actually the openness is what we look for in the Atlas ecosystem. So yeah, why not?
yes, Karen, to go back to your question, so there is no must, basically. There is very few must things in our project. We are really open, and we are starting, and we are looking for interesting solutions. If you feel that your solution fits our project, please submit it, and we can promise that we will consider it thoroughly. So next question, what are the plans to keep Atlas alive after your funding ends? Also, who else offers similar services as Atlas? Okay.
I can comment on this. So what I've explained is that Atlas is only involving a minimum of centralized components which have to be run, and all the services which are brought in by participants, the participants are responsible on their own to run these services. So we are not a service platform which will have to operate after the project to provide these services. So what Atlas will have to provide after the project is over is just the service registry, and the App Center. So that's the two components we have to be kept running after the project, and we are already discussing solutions about this. But because it's only two quite small components, it is very likely that it will be that there will be a good solution to have it running after the project.
Well, there might be a bit more, Stefan, as we have identified, but
Right.
yeah, you missed the set of APIs that will be published and stuff like this, but it's really a minimum of things to be implemented. I think the big thing on your side to be implemented are the APIs finally, that they are kind of according to the data formats and also according to the Atlas API, actually to the endpoints that you can exchange data. I think that's the biggest thing for you. We as a consortium don't believe in these central platforms. That's why we have switched gears and now also talk about an interoperability network that we build up. It's not seen as a platform, what we're doing. You could say it's kind of a platform, but it misleads people in the understanding of what we actually are.
Thank you very much. The next short question is, can we apply with a cooperation partner? The short answer is no. So only single applicants are eligible. So that's everything, all these general questions we described in our terms of participation and in the application template, and the answers also are available now in the handouts. Please just read them. The next one, in case of winning the first open call, can we apply for the second open call too, to continue with the aspects that we will not be at tier L89? Tier L89. So yeah.
I mean, this you need to answer. My understanding, we have a maximum per company that we can give out in the call. If that's split per one call or over the two calls, I don't know. This you need to maybe clarify even.
It's a difficult question.
One thing that we have per use case per open call. So in general, we don't have this restriction. If you feel that you would like to apply for the second open call and continue developing your solution, you are free to do this, and yeah, we will welcome your proposal and we'll consider it, of course. What are the aspects TRL89? I don't know.
It's referring to the technology readiness level, so it's 8 or 9 is the highest you can have. So I mean, applying for 2 rounds of open calls, I would say it's possible, but you will have also the same review than in the first open call. So you will have to submit a new proposal, and you will for sure show what's the new thing you want to achieve with that proposal. And then you will be evaluated by a set of evaluators, and so that's the constraint we have. So it's just a new application, and there is of course no guarantee that you will win the second round also.
Yeah, that's true. But in general, yeah, it's possible. Right, thank you. The next one, if we develop the API with a solution, how to establish a connection with Atlas network?
Yeah, you have to implement dedicated Atlas data services to make the connection to the Atlas network. Then you will receive a detailed API specification for your services, how to implement them. and how to connect to the service registry. And once your service is registered in the service registry, then it's available in the Atlas network and can be discovered by other services.
Thank you. Next question. If you guys, I'm referring to participants now, if you feel that we didn't cover fully your question or you did receive the answer that you're satisfied with, please just drop us a line after the webinar via our email and we will elaborate, okay? Information platform topic. Is it going into the direction of Agri Epicenter in the UK, or in which direction are you thinking? Information platform topic. Is it going into the direction of Agri Epicenter?
I do not know this
Yeah, me neither.
software. So, but I mean, that's why I cannot answer it if it's going in the same direction or not. I do not know this.
Yes, Karen, please just write, yeah, specify your question right afterwards to us, explaining what you meant.
I mean, the aim here of that topic is that was brought up by consortium members also dealing with societal aspects of digital farming, and there is a need to bring all the information about digital farming, how to use digital services in farming, also to small farmers, which we find a lot in Southern Europe compared to Germany. The setup of farms is quite different, and you have a lot of small farmers not really knowing about the possibilities of digital technology in farming, and there's a need for information platforms around this. So that's why this topic is in here.
Well, I quickly Googled it, the Agri Epicenter, and if I understand it right, it's not at all what we're doing. This is more about the hub to exchange information on how to develop things. It's not about what we call data interaction. So this is rather to develop solutions together. We are not going to develop solutions together. We are offering the interoperability toolkit. And yes, we have use cases, but the use cases are just there to show that things work and that we have a first set for important use cases to be there. But it's not to look for a solution in genome analysis or in, this is then to be built on the Atlas interoperability network. So, and it also looks to me like very university driven. We want it to be actually business driven. I mean, this shall live in the business world. That's also why companies can fully harvest their product and business model, exploit that business model that they want to create in the ecosystem.
Thank you very much. The next one, when will be the APIs published?
That's a good question. Definitely before the projects start, that's for sure. So we are currently working quite hard on it to make a complete specification, and I would say that we will have a significant progress by September.
Thank you.
Yes, if they are fully available for all aspects, I don't think so, but the first set will be there. And as we said clearly several times, you will also be able to shape big parts of it if you have a specific case that you see and that you want to implement.
Yes, and the implementation starts in December, so that should be some time for that. Right. The next.
We will for sure provide everything you need to do your implementation. That's
okay. Yeah. The next question is, I think there is some typo in the question because it It is the evaluation of the new developed service must be performed using the Atlas network and Atlas pilots. I think, Rafael, you meant implementation, right? The implementation of the new developed service must be performed using the Atlas network and the Atlas pilots. I would say yes, right?
I mean, if evaluation means that you have to test your algorithm, your service, whatever, yeah, I mean, we need to go out to the field and see if it's working or not. So that can be performed by on our test sites. I would say that's the preferred solution. If you have another solution in mind, if you have your own farm where you can demonstrate things, then we could think about if that's also possible. It depends on the case, I would say.
Okay, thank you. What are the environmental or plant physiological parameters are available for sensing for plant protection management? So what are environmental or plant physiological parameters that are available for sensing?
So we have already installed a set of sensor networks by our partners in Latvia. So they have a multitude of weather stations, leaf wetness sensors, soil moisture sensors. I'm not sure what else, but a lot. But what the real physiological parameter, Peter, do you know it? I cannot answer it so quickly.
Well, I mean, we are not a data provider in the first place. We are rather focusing on the infrastructure interoperability so that IoT devices can work with each other. I think it is up on you to define what you need so that we then can endeavor in the Atlas consortium who could deliver you the hardware, or if you bring in hardware to measure these things, to generate the data sets. Our focus is on the interoperability of things and to create that network and all the services that are needed to interact. It's not about the data points that you have there. So even the demonstrator farms that we are building up, it's not about showing too many of these single data points. It's really about showing the interoperability afterwards.
However,
sensors
installed, and you will what we have, you will be able to use. So
exactly. I mean, you will be able to use probably sensors from machines, these sensors that are in the field, some scans we will do. I mean, the data sets we will produce in the Atlas are going to be open source when they are paid by the European Union. If not, it's company ownership. So it will be, yeah, case by case. We would have to check.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stefan and Peter. As we already run out of time, I would say that we stop now, stop taking new questions. All the rest of the questions we will cover next time and will email to authors if there are some specific questions there. So again, unfortunately, sorry, I know that you almost all you have questions regarding the budget and eligibility costs, and if subcontracting costs are eligible, and if you can hire freelancers and so on. So you can find all the answers to your questions in the handout. I will try to send it to you per email as well if you were unable to download it or don't know how to do it, but just please try to, and we will probably also upload it to our webpage so you can every time look there. But I can say that there is nothing new there as we have in terms of participation and application template. Just have a look there. For all the specific questions, we are open anytime for you. Thank you very much for your participation, and so we will continue our webinars 2 more weeks. So please prepare your questions and attend our webinars, and please submit your proposals. We are really looking forward to seeing your solutions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Have a nice afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you. Ciao.